Right, that's bang on 10 o'clock. I might put everyone off their breakfast by starting my video. There we go. So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for your time today and for joining into our webinar today. Scott Clayton, who is one of our risk consultants, is going to run through the machine vision and artificial intelligence, which is the latest and greatest in terms of what DriveRisk and the DriveCam solution is doing. So I won't steal too much of Scotty's thunder. I'll hand over to Scott now. If anyone does have questions while we're running through this, there is a Q&A down the bottom of your screen. If you just scroll your mouse, you'll see a Q&A. Please just send the questions through. What I'll try and do is probably wait till the end. But if it's a very pertinent question for where Scott's up to during his presentation, I'll interject and see if we can get some answers for you. So I'll hand over to Scott. Thanks again for everyone joining on, and I hope you get a lot out of today's session. And I'll turn off my video, and away we go. Scott, thanks, mate.
All right, thanks very much, Mark. And again, welcome to everybody. As Mark said, my name is Scott Clayton. I'm one of the risk consultants here with DriveRisk. And Mark has already introduced himself. He'll be helping me during the presentation. And again, as Mark has said, you're welcome to ask any questions as we go through, even anonymously if you prefer. Please just use the chat or the Q&A icons at the bottom of the screen. Presentation should go for about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how many questions we get through. So we shouldn't take up too much of your time today. So for those of you who are not familiar with our business, DriveRisk, we've been around for just on 22 years now, and we specialise in lowering collision frequencies and costs. We're exclusive agents for the Lytx DriveCam safety program. It's the only solution that we have in our kit bag. For people who are not familiar with Lytx as a company, they are the world's oldest and largest driver behaviour improvement business in the world, currently monitoring over 850,000 vehicles and more than 1.2 million drivers. DriveRisk ourselves, we currently have under management 120,000 vehicles across those 3 continents and more than 150,000 drivers. So for myself, I've been in the transport industry for about 10 years now. I was 8 years as the Queensland State Manager for Teletrack Navman and 2 years here with DriveRisk. And Mark has more than 20 years in the transport industry, beginning as an operations manager in the waste industry and more than 10 years providing video safety solutions to transport. So many of you will be familiar with DriveCam, the solution, the product. It has been around for 22 years. The solution is, like most products, continually improving and innovating. And today we'll be talking about our latest innovation. For those of you who are not familiar with DriveCam, we risk assess every single trip, every single day for all of our customers. If risks are identified, we highlight and prioritise these for our customers so that they can coach the driver to change any bad driving habits or risks that they have. This approach allows the driver to manage and mitigate their own risks. Because we have that coaching platform, it's what's known as a closed loop safety program, which on average will prevent between 70 and 90% of at-fault collisions, which is something we're very, very proud of with the DriveCam program. Preventing at-fault collisions obviously adds to the bottom line through increased vehicle and staff uptime and productivity. Obviously, there are insurance benefits as well with not having to make claims through that. But ultimately, the DriveCam program transforms the company culture into one focused on safety. So today, I'll be talking about our latest innovation, machine vision and artificial intelligence. So The feature has been launched in the US, where the Lytics is based, for over 12 months now. And in July this year, just last month, it was released here in Australia. Due to our drivers being on the other side of the cabin from what they are in the US, it required a bit of computer magic to make sure that the technology was looking at the right side of the vehicle. So machine vision, what is it? So machine vision, as you can see there, it refers to a technology's ability to recognize images or video within images within a video. The technology or the rules that does this is known as an algorithm. And in order for the algorithm to recognize objects, it needs to be shown a lot of verified examples of the object that it's trying to look for in the video. So a really good example of how that's used quite commonly today is where your mobile phone unlocks itself by recognizing your face. That's a machine vision algorithm that does that. Now, artificial intelligence is different to machine vision, and as you can see there, it refers to a technology's ability to perform a task that normally requires human intelligence and human nuances. Similar to machine vision, it requires a lot of information and a lot of rules on how to use that information. And like machine vision, as the AI algorithm acquires more data, it's able to learn from that new information, which makes it increasingly accurate over time. So artificial intelligence or this learning feature is sometimes known as machine learning. And in our environment, it enables the algorithm to distinguish between nuances such as recognizing that a driver making a full stop at a stop sign or a red light is not risky versus rolling through a stop sign or red light being significantly more risky. And I'll explain that a little bit further on as we go. So when it comes to the results or predictions from any machine vision and artificial intelligence algorithms, this is essentially based on two things. So firstly, the machine vision accurately recognizing the behavior within the video. And secondly, the rules that the artificial intelligence algorithm uses to determine what to do with the information. Now, this is especially important when the machine vision recognition is inconclusive. So there are four possible outcomes when it comes to any prediction made by our algorithms. The first of which is known as a true positive. So this is where the algorithm said the driver is wearing a seatbelt and they actually are, which is quite clearly a correct prediction or outcome. Secondly, what's known as a false negative. So this is where our algorithm said the driver is not wearing a seatbelt and they are not wearing one. So again, that's a correct outcome or result. Thirdly, a true negative. So this is where the algorithm said the driver is wearing a seatbelt, but they are in fact not wearing one. And lastly, a false positive. So where the algorithm said the driver is not wearing a seatbelt, but they actually are. So those are the four possible outcomes from any AI algorithm. The correct ones are what's known as a precision reading, and the incorrect ones are what's known as a recall reading. And I'll explain those a little bit further on. So when it comes to accurately predicting one of these four possible outcomes, how can anyone or how can we improve the accuracy of our algorithm outcomes? Well, as I said with Lytics, we have the largest library of curated driving videos in the world. It has been going for over 22 years, the DriveCam program, and there's some really, really big numbers on the screen there. 200 billion kilometers of monitored, curated video. The number that stands out to me the most on this particular screen is the 50 billion objects, machine vision and AI objects daily, every single day. That's a massive amount of information that we are able to feed our machine vision and artificial intelligence algorithms to make them more accurate and reliable. So how are we going to be using this algorithm? So we're using these algorithms to detect high-risk driving behaviours. At present, there are just 4 driving behaviours, first of which is using a mobile phone whilst driving, eating or drinking, smoking, or wearing a seatbelt or not. We know from analysing millions of collisions and billions of near misses that these 4 habits are amongst the highest collision leading behaviours. Traditionally, before this innovation, we've been using G-force sensors within our hardware to detect things like sudden braking or swerving or even impacts. This would activate the hardware to record video of the driver and the road, and then we would review that footage and look for these high-risk behaviours. So having our machine vision and artificial intelligence algorithms pick up these behaviours means that we can detect a lot more potential risks for our customers. So when it comes to measuring the performance or the accuracy of the algorithms, because we've got the world's largest library of curated videos, as I said, we can teach the algorithms to be correct. Now, this is extremely important for accuracy. Now, obviously, the more verified data which can be fed into the algorithms, the more they learn and the more accurate they become. So on this chart here, I've got some results from our accuracy testing. Now on the left of the chart there is the accuracy, the precision rating. So this is when the program accurately predicted that, for example, the driver is or is not wearing a seatbelt, and the recall down the bottom is when we got it wrong. So in this example, in this chart here, the blue line, which is our most accurately predicted machine vision algorithm, is the driver wearing a seatbelt or not. So when it, when you can see there the blue line, that's close to 98% accuracy, which incidentally, as I said, we review our footage traditionally, and our human reviewers have a 98% accuracy rate on detecting behaviours. So that's very, very encouraging, and it helps to eliminate those false positives, for example. With the purple line there, having a mobile phone in the hand, that's close to 90% accuracy as well, which again is something that we're very, very proud of. Now you'll notice the bottom 2 lines there, green being detecting instances of drowsiness, and orange being distracted. We've drawn a line in the sand so that when our machine vision and artificial intelligence algorithms are at least 80% accurate, they'll be released to the market so that we don't flood our customers with a whole heap of incorrect information, which would simply become meaningless and useless. So when it comes to, again, verifying the accuracy of the predictions that the algorithm does, as I said, even though the machine vision is picking up these behaviors or not, every single machine vision activated video clip is also human reviewed. And again, this helps to ensure ultimately a 98% accuracy rate. Every single machine vision, that's all 50 billion every single day, are fed back to the algorithm to help it learn and increase its accuracy. Now, I've got some examples a little bit later on, which I hope will explain that a little bit better. We do randomly select 10% of all of our videos for a second review, again, in the interests of helping to make sure that the outcomes are accurate. So I've got some examples here. So these are all 2-minute videos which have been sped up so that we're not watching 8 minutes of video. And these are from real customers using the technology. Now, the first one is the machine vision picking up or detecting that the driver is using a mobile phone. As you can see, the red line there indicates the cell phone usage. And the one being 100% accurate. So even though in that video the driver's put the phone on his lap, because it's still can see the illumination from the phone, it's able to make a reasonably accurate prediction. It was close to 95% accurate that was a mobile phone, even though it was actually on the driver's lap. Next example I have is machine vision picking up 2 behaviours at once. Now, this is, again, the red line with the cell phone and the blue one being eating or drinking. Now, interestingly, in this video, you cannot actually see the phone. But because we're able to teach the machine vision, I'll play that one again, because we're able to teach the machine vision algorithm nuances such as the position of the eyes, the head, the position of the arms and the hands, it's able to make a reasonably accurate prediction that there is in fact a mobile in the driver's hand. So that's what I mean about having curated videos and the rules that the artificial intelligence uses to make an accurate prediction. Now, the next video I have here is 3 behaviours: phone, food and drink, and smoking. And as you can see here, again, with the nuances of not being able to see the cigarette, but the position of the driver's hand and the position of the driver's head and eyes means again that you can pick up those nuances, which is something that humans are very, very good at. Machines need to be taught. Now, the last example I have is all 4 behaviours all at once. Now, this poor fellow is just simply an accident waiting to happen, unfortunately, if he's driving like this. Very little focus on the driving task, which is what we're trying to pick up. So, excuse me. With being able to detect these high-risk driving behaviours, it enables us to provide our customers with what we're calling a sustained behaviour model. So in this report here, we're able to provide information as to, within a certain period of time, how often the fleet or the driver or the department has got the phone in the hand or is driving without a seatbelt, for example. And this allows us to give driver reports and driver behavioural reports. And I hope you can see that, but poor old Shane McCarthy in this example, he's got the phone in his hand nearly 95% of the time whilst he's driving, and Willie Hale about 90% of the time whilst driving. Okay, so these findings were completely unexpected, particularly with mobile phone usage. And it just goes to show the need for this type of technology. I'm sure you all understand that driving with the phone in your hand is very dangerous and risky, and our solution is about picking these types of behaviours up, changing those habits of the driver so that they're just simply safer on the road for themselves and for other road users. So it's going to ultimately enable us to provide our customers with a level of engagement, and that's what we'll be calling it, on the driving task. So we also provide some GPS tracking with our technology as well. So when customers combine vehicle location information with behavioural data and video, it provides a complete and full visibility of high risk driving behaviours. And And as I said, our platform allows our customers to coach the driver around these habits and behaviours so that they can change those habits and just simply be safer for themselves. Excuse me. Now, I mentioned before a number of other behaviours that we're still testing and working on accuracy, these being drowsiness and distraction. So they're still in development and it can be quite difficult to distinguish between drowsiness and distraction. So I've got two video clips here. One is of the driver being drowsy, and the other one is of the driver being distracted. Now, these are full 2-minute videos. Now, you and I as humans will very quickly and easily pick up which is which, but it is quite difficult to teach an algorithm, a computer program, to distinguish between the two. So I'll get these videos underway. And I'll just shut up and let you see this. Like I said, you and I will quickly pick up which is which, but teaching the algorithm which is which is very, very difficult. The only way to do it is to show the algorithm a bucket load of verified and curated videos and have the machine vision and artificial intelligence learn. So quite clearly, the video on the left there, the driver's drowsiness, the head movement is very, very similar in both videos. And that's what I mean about the nuances. And, you know, once our algorithm is up to 80% accurate with these predictions, we'll be releasing these behaviors and adding them to our feature set. And it is very, very important to be able to do these types of things accurately, because when the system in the vehicle provides an alert to the driver, it needs to be accurate. So, you know, if the program, the system in the vehicle itself was telling the driver to stop being drowsy when he's actually just simply looking out the window or looking at the phone, eventually those incorrect alerts will become ignored by the driver, which, you know, defeats the whole purpose of it. So we're very particular on trying to make these algorithms as accurate as possible. And again, it allows us to provide not only a level of engagement in the driving task, but also when these behaviours are released, a level of alertness as well, rather than just simply fatigued or drowsiness. So we've got a roadmap as well in terms of what we're doing in the future with these algorithms. So as you can see on the screen there, being able to monitor the road in front of the driver for things like following distance, critical distance, you know, rolling through red lights or stop signs, and lane departure warnings as well. So those first 4 behaviours are already released in the USA. It just takes a bit of computer magic to have the program look at us driving on the correct side of the road. So that the machine vision knows, you know, where in the field of view the stop sign or the speed sign is likely to be as well. So those things, like I said, the first 4 are already released in the US. We expect them to be available here in Australia towards the end of this year or early next year. Things like posted speed limits are also being worked on. The challenge that we, and in fact every technology company has with speed limits, is the accuracy of the speed limit data, the speed limits on the maps. So that's a challenge that we're still working on. And again, with our 80% accuracy line in the sand, we want to make sure that what we're providing our customers is mostly correct. The last one there, facial recognition of the driver. This is quite difficult to do with lighting conditions inside a vehicle, day and night, of course, and the angles from the event recorder hardware to the driver. Drivers being different heights and, you know, leaning on the window, for example. So that's quite difficult to do, but it is, however, being worked on. So quite exciting for these types of other high-risk behaviours that we will be launching, like I said, hopefully towards the end of this year or early next year. So look, in summary, our machine vision and artificial features, they do highlight even more risks for drivers and businesses. And as I said, our coaching platform allows for these to be mitigated so that drivers and other road users are significantly safer. Look, thanks very much again for registering and listening in and dialing in. I will be emailing out this presentation to all attendees. And please reach out if you've got any questions, or just type a question into the bottom of your Zoom screen there. So I'll hand over to Mark. Mate, have we got any questions at all from the audience today?
Unmute myself. There we go. Sorry, absolutely. I've been going typing frantically on the chat line. So I'll answer a couple of. I'll put some of the questions that we've had up on the chat line, plus some other ones that have come through on the Q&A. So one of the questions was, what is our experience with driver attitude? I guess in comparison to the old system that wasn't the AI and MV, being more full-time type surveillance?
Yeah, excuse me, that's a very good question. So when customers initially come on board, we're at pains to explain to the business and the drivers that it is about getting the drivers home safely every single day. And we've all got habits. And so our coaching platform is a safety, educational focused chat with the drivers. It is not a punitive platform. And so having the drivers on board and understand that it's about protecting them and their own families to make sure that everyone can come home. Once that message is delivered, the drivers are generally quite well on board, because we've all got habits. Quite often these are quite unconscious or subconscious.
And I'll just chuck a little bit more into that one as well. Whilst the system is constantly monitoring and looking for patterns, and that's really what the AI and MV does, is looks for patterns. It's not actually storing or saving any video. Similar to the older systems, whilst it's constantly in what we call a passive mode, you still can't access any video until an event has been captured. So the event is the only video that humans can see, but the system will continue to monitor for patterns. So from a driver perspective, nothing changes in terms of the only video that anyone can see is when an event is actually captured. Okay. Hope that answers that for everyone. And if not, please, throw some more questions at us. Now, I've got a couple more. Actually, we've answered that one. Is this system available now? Yes. So Scotty said that one came in on July this year. So now, hang on, we got one just come through. Yes. So this was based around teaching the system to read speed limits as opposed to GPS data. So that is part of the process that they are looking for. So the system again needs to learn how to detect those patterns and then build the algorithm accuracy based on what it sees. So similar to stop signs, similar to speed signs, red lights, all of those types of things. It's all about building the capacity into the system, and then that's why we get the accuracy. And so it will then be able to read those types of pattern images in terms of, it's really just pixels. And once the pixels build into some intelligence, then it will actually start to be very accurate in terms of that. So I hope that answers that one as opposed to GPS to AIMV type situations.
Yeah, just to further that, Mark, because the data here in Australia about speed limits on all the roads is really, really terrible, to be honest. The very best way is to be able to, like drivers, look up at the road and see what the speed limit is. Now, things like roadworks, school zones. None of that information is on any map anywhere. So once we've got the algorithm working, like I said, 80% of the time accurate, that'll be another unique feature and feather in our cap to be able to get that type of information for our clients.
Excellent. Okay. Now, what have we got here? Does this technology work on the old DriveCam or existing DriveCam devices, or will we need, or can it be upgraded just through firmware?
That's a very good question. Look, this technology does use our latest version of hardware, incidentally called an SF300. Because the SF300 has high definition video, it's our first device to include high definition video, so that we can, so that the algorithm can get a clear reading of those patterns and behaviours. So, for existing customers that have, the older versions, unfortunately, you will need to upgrade the hardware. For all brand new businesses moving forward, everyone will be provided with the SF300 that includes this technology.
Yeah, and some of the, I guess the reason behind the SF300 is if you think of cloud and edge, what we've had to do is build more intelligence into the edge, which is the actual device, as opposed to the existing systems. Some of that will still be an AI-MV type technology, but it's done in the cloud as opposed to actually at the device level. So that we've built some more intelligence into the actual device, which gives it that ability to answer the algorithm correctly. One here, where is the data stored?
So all of our data is stored in, I think it's 6 data centers around the world. And ours here in Australia is, I'm not sure where it is actually. I think it's in New Zealand. I'm not entirely sure. Sorry, it's a curly question. I hadn't thought about that one. But nevertheless, all of the data is co-located in 6 data centers around the world.
Okay. Do we store data in Australia? So look, the data, the actual data capacity is we, as DriveRisk, and part of the COR compliance as well, is we do have to store the data for a number of years, especially if there are unfortunate fatalities or major collisions involved. So DriveRisk itself has a database that we are storing a lot of this in, and Lytx as well also has one, but they're not under the same regulations as Australia with COR, so they don't have the requirements to keep that type of data for the amount of years that we do. So DriveRisk itself has a massive database that we're actually we're working on as well. One other here, has the system essentially incorporated the DriveAlert system into DriveCam, or are they still 2 separate systems?
Okay, so our DriveAlert solution is a fatigue monitoring technology. It is a different piece of hardware, and that is integrated into our DriveCam platform. Fatigue, our DriveAlert solution monitors the driver's eyes and the closure rates to be able to pick up instances of fatigue. So you do need to have both the DriveAlert, the fatigue monitoring, in conjunction with our DriveCam safety program. So yeah, they do need to work together.
Yeah, and that's part of the, I think Scotty mentioned during that part of the algorithm building is making sure the accuracy level is good. And that video Scott showed where there was a bloke looking at his mobile phone, but then the same bloke doing a similar sort of nod, but you could tell. It's just all about building the intelligence into the AI and MV. And realistically, if you think about AI and MV, it's actually dumb until it's taught. So we need to teach it to be smart, and that's where you start to get that accuracy level. And because we've got the biggest database of curated data, we can build the accuracy quite quickly and very accurately. But again, it's one of these things that we don't want to be bombarding you with rubbish, because it's then going to lose its clout, I guess. And as Scotty said, we don't want to waste your time. We want to give you specific information that's going to have relevance to improving driver safety. Let's see if we got any more. Does the system notify the driver in cab?
Absolutely, certainly does. Our attitude and approach is to have the driver correct their own behaviours and habits, and so the system does alert the driver when it picks up any of these high-risk behaviours. And if there are high-risk behaviours, obviously management is notified as well, again, so that a safety, educational focused chat with the driver can be had, so that they change habits. Rather than just using it as a punitive tool and getting rid of 30 or 40% of your drivers, you're much better off to just retrain them. It's cheaper to do that. So the drivers are notified, as are management, only when high-risk behaviours are detected.
So how is the driver notified? I'll do a quick one on that one, Scotty. So at the moment, there is, we use the in-cab lights on the device. So there's an LED that goes red. So the driver gets a visual notification once the event has been captured. And most people, or the customers that are on today, when they watch video and they see a driver trigger something, the first thing they do is they look at the DriveCam device to see whether it's been triggered. So we want drivers to self-educate a little bit. We know that that's not the 100% way, but the more that they can get that conscious awareness that they need to change things, the coaching process works a lot faster. So once the drivers start to understand that what they did triggered an event, they then start to modify their behavior to not trigger the event. So yes, in terms of visual, that's what we've got at the moment. I believe towards the end of this year or early next, there will be some in-cab audible alerts based around a number of different behaviours, like following distance, lane departure, and things like that. But we'll keep everyone posted as those updates come, and they will automatically go through over the air to the devices and update the firmware accordingly. So again, part of that's due to us driving on the correct side of the road in America, driving on the wrong side of the road, and we have to retrain the AIMV to understand that it's it is actually driving on our side of the road, where it doesn't get confused and give us some false information. That's about all we've got. If anyone's got some more questions, quickly jump through and we'll get onto those. If we don't get to your questions and you do have further questions, you can see Scott's email address still sitting up there. Please feel free to email Scott directly. He will certainly come back to you with some information. And for those who have had, I've seen a few people having some audio setting issues. There will be a link sent to you as well. I believe within 24 hours, an automated link will come through where you can actually download this presentation as well. So if you've had any audio issues, you should be able to download a link to this and listen in again. And it's always good to have another listen through, because the AIMV it's not something everyone thinks in the modern day. It's more fictional movies and things like that. But hopefully we will get those through you too. Hang on, I've just had one. Current cameras, absolutely, they're not going to be redundant. We will still continue to support. Look, we've got units far out. When I started in 2009, we had the DC3s. We've gone from a DC3P, then onto the SF64, and now onto the SF300. So all of those devices are still continually being looked after, monitored, and the firmware is continually being upgraded as well in all of those devices. So no, nothing's redundant. What we do have to be mindful of is in the next couple of years, the 3G network will obviously be turning off. The SF300 is 4G compatible. Some of the old devices are obviously not, but I think that's probably a situation where everyone's going to have to start to look at what they've got running in their vehicles and make sure that it keeps up with, I guess, the telco technology as well to be able to communicate effectively. So look, thanks very much.
Just on that, 3G network in Australia is going to be switched off by Telstra sometime in 2024. When they switched off the 2G network, it was done in stages over a 2-year period. So potentially, some areas of Australia could have their 3G network switched off in 2022. So you need to speak to Telstra about when that's possibly happening in your own particular region, but they have announced, Telstra have announced that they'll be switching off their 3G network in 2024. As Mark said, this new device, the SF300 with this MV and AI technology, is a 4G device, so that sort of future-proofs our customers somewhat as well.
I just had one more come through, and sorry, I won't name, but they missed the start, and it was seatbelt detection included. So yes, absolutely, that's one of the most accurate behaviours, because it's quite static and easy to see that a seatbelt's either on or off in terms of the patterns. So very easy to detect the seatbelt stuff, and that's 100% in the 4 inward-facing behaviours that we've released at the moment. So that will continue to expand as we build more intelligence and accuracy into the device's brain system. So hopefully that's answered everyone's questions. I don't have any more coming through. So look, I think that's probably time. We've probably gone a little bit over, but that's okay. I'm sure everyone's been getting a lot of value out of some of the questions that you've all been pushing through as well. So look, as I said, if you didn't get an answer to anything, or you think of something when you get off this, and shoot Scott through an email, or anyone at the DriveRisk team, and we're happy to get back to you. And if you want some more one-on-one presentations, feel free to contact us as well. We'd be happy to run a Zoom and really go into a bit more of a deep dive where we can just really get into the nuts and bolts of how it all works in terms of behaviour improvement and changing drivers' behaviours and attitudes, and obviously improving people's bottom lines when they're not spending a lot of coin fixing repairs on trucks. So thanks very much, everyone, and we look forward to having some more webinars in the near future, which we will be doing, and encourage everyone to jump on board.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you.